Hey everybody, this is Dead Winter Dead with another Battlefield 1 video for you. Well, the closed alpha has finally come to an end. So now I'm going to give you my opinions on it. The good, the bad, and the ugly. First thing out the gate, I just want to say, fun factor. I had a lot of fun playing it. It was a blast playing it. It was something new. It was fresh. I really liked the World War I theme. I didn't mind that it was going back to World War I, but after the announcement, I was kind of like, World War I. I mean, okay. I was a little bit skeptical on how they were going to handle it, but I think they handled it pretty well. And we obviously haven't seen everything that the game has to offer. This was a stripped down alpha. There's features that were not available to us, such as the attachment system. There is going to be it's called the modification system. There will be a modification system, but the way DICE handled it is, as you purchase weapons, which are purchased with war bonds, as you rank up, you earn war bonds, and you turn around and you can pick which weapons you want to buy. Similar to Hardline, and I hate to compare things to Hardline because that was just well, we're not going to talk about Hardline. But it's similar to Hardline in the sense that you earn a form of currency, and then when you're ready to spend that currency, you can spend that currency on a specific weapon. And the way they handled it in the alpha was they had pre-built weapons, like the trench version, the marksman version, the assault or whatever, and obviously the trench version maybe had a little bit better hip fire, whereas the marksman version was better when you ADS'd. So it was an interesting concept to kind of just grab and go, grab a gun, pick a place to spawn, and get into the action. Now the modification system, or the attachment system, for lack of a better term, since we don't really know how it's going to work. I'm going to base a lot of this kind of on the way Battlefield 4 works in the attachment system. We don't know how it's going to work. We don't know how many attachments are going to be. We don't know how extensive it's going to be. But there is going to be a system in which you can make these weapons work a little bit more into your play style. So, World War I theme, cool. I like the way they handle it. It doesn't bother me at all. I have no problem with it. It's not going to be historically accurate. It's not going to be realistic. It's not going to be super immersive, like, oh, I feel like I'm in World War I. That's just not going to happen here. It's going to be a Battlefield game. So you can just essentially look at the skin and be like, World War I skin, cool. Now let's play some Battlefield. So the elements of Battlefield are here. They're a little bit of kind of some weird things. We were able to play on one single map, which was St. Quentin Scar, which is obviously what you're seeing here. And we were able to play 2 game modes. Conquest Large and Domination. Domination played the way Domination plays. It's very fast paced. The flags burn a lot quicker. It's very close quarters. Pretty much everybody ran the assault class with the SMGs or the shotguns, because you're in people's faces. It's going to be close quarters, fast paced. You want to bang, 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 and get people dead quickly to cap those flags. So Domination is going to play like Domination plays. Conquest plays the way Conquest plays. Now they did make some change with the team play initiative, which I think is awesome. Gone are the days where someone is just going to sit on the edge of the battlefield and not help their buddies, not drop meds, not drop ammo, not take out vehicles, not cap flags, not defend flags, not attack flags, etc., etc., and then be at the top of the scoreboard. If KD is all that you're about, you're still able to, look at your KD stats, but you are no longer going to dominate the scoreboard. It is all about the team. It's all about winning the match, which I think is awesome. It's all just PTFO. That's what it's about. You PTFO, you're going to be at the top of the scoreboard. You are the most valuable player to your team if you PTFO. And if you get a squad of guys who are going to PTFO the entire game, you guys are going to dominate. Likewise, if you get a squad of guys on the other team that's going to PTFO, they're going to dominate. That's just the way it's going to be, and I am super excited about that. The weapon system, the way the paper rock scissors. I see what they're going for. The shotguns are extremely close range, and they're going to dominate. The SMGs are close range. That's where they're going to dominate. The marksman rifles that the medic class has are going to be, you know, for medium range. They're a little bit useful at longer ranges, but not as useful up close. And then you have the scout class, which the scout class, and you guys have heard this from other YouTubers, the scout class, you know, or the sniper class is as good as it's been since Bad Company 2. It is so much fun, and you are going to get punished by people who learn how to use the sniper rifles well. The sweet spot system, I think, is really neat. It encourages you to experiment with different ranges. Each weapon, you're able to kind of figure out, okay, this is the sweet spot for this. It's going to be a one shot kill at, say, 150 meters, and then there'll be another weapon. Well, you know, the sweet spot's a little bit further out. It might be 200 meters or 225 meters where you're getting that one shot kill. So, you know, all those guys that you used to see in Bad Company 2, especially Bad Company 2 Vietnam, playing the sniper class with the, I think it was, the M40 bolt action, just dominating. Yeah, that's going to be back. And I don't know, I was a little bit excited about it. But because of that, because of the way that they kind of changed the weapon system up and closed the skill gap, this is the bad part. This is what upset me. They're trying to close the skill gap, and there's another YouTuber named Culprit. He does kind of a live podcast with some other YouTubers, and they were talking about this, and I couldn't agree more. They're essentially bringing people from the bottom towards the middle, and they're taking people who would normally be at the top and pulling them towards the middle. It's very similar to what we saw with Battlefront. Now the SMGs and the LMGs, they're you know, gone are the days where you have to control that recoil and tap fire, tap. The more you hold down that fire button, the better the accuracy is going to get. So it's just spray and pray. Just the more bullets you put down range, the better the accuracy is going to get. And I personally cannot stand that. The other thing that I cannot stand is the fact that there is RNG attached to the bullet deviation. RNG is a random number generator. That means the deviation for the weapons is completely random. So it's not like CSGO where you can memorize this weird recoil pattern and get good at it the more you use the weapon. It's going to be completely random. So it's kind of crushing the skill in the game, and that is my big problem with this. I really hope that they find another way to address the skill in this game. I don't understand why you would want to do this just to the community at all, and this part's kind of going to be a rant. You know, they saw kind of how Battlefront sort of flopped. I mean, you know, they sold that. I mean, it was Star Wars. They sold it on nostalgia. They sold it on the license, and you know, there were a lot of people that played Battlefront. But what's going to happen with this game if they continue with this ballistic model? Bullet deviation based on RNG is it's a roll of the dice. Like a friend of mine said, you know, it's you know, your fate on the battlefield is up to, you know, the dice gods, pun intended. You know, if every time you fire that weapon, it's a roll of the dice. Well, you know, you got a bullet going this way and a bullet going that way. I have no problem with recoil. I have no problem with bullet deviation. I have no problem with any of that. I just it would have been nicer if they could have taken these weapons and still maintained the idea of paper, rock, scissors. SMGs are up close, shotguns are extremely up close, and then you have your medium range weapons and your long range weapons. That's a fine idea, and that will work just fine, as long as they make it so that there is a way for you to get better at these weapons. You know, so it's not just a crapshoot like, yeah, you know, I fired first and I was shooting at his back, but he was able to roll around, and because he got a good dice roll on his deviation, he was able to, you know, dome me, and my shots were just going wild all over the place. It was extremely frustrating coming from Battlefield 4 and having, you know, really gotten good at that ballistic system where, all right, I know that, you know, if I throw an angle grip on this, it's gonna, you know, help decrease my first shot recoil, blah blah. I mean, a heavy barrel's gonna, you know, maybe increase my recoil, but, you know, I'll be a little bit more accurate or have a longer punch down range, etc., etc. Like I said, we don't know how the attachments are gonna work, but regardless of that, even if attachments do kind of adjust things a little bit, if the deviation is always based on an RNG, I mean, the consequences of that they're pretty far flung. I mean, sites like Synthic, where they're constantly like, hey, the AK, AK whatever, they're the, this weapon in Battlefield 4, it's got a, a .2 pull one and a .1 pull to the left and a .3 pull to the right, and this, that, and the other. And in order to control it, you got to kind of pull your mouse this way. And if everything's based randomly, sites like that won't be able to give us accurate information on the weapon. They may be able to give us basic information like the muzzle velocity is this, the sweet spot for this sniper rifle is that, but it's not, it won't be that, okay, this is the recoil pattern and this is what you need to do to counter it. So I really think that was a bad move on their part, adding that RNG. Otherwise, I mean, vehicles were fun. Once players learn how to deal with vehicles, I don't think they're going to be as OP as a lot of people thought they were, especially that light tank. That light tank is just a beast. The airplanes were fun. There was some points where I thought they were almost kind of a little bit useless. I mean, maybe not the bomber, but the fighters, like, I guess we're going to get people who specialize in fighters once the game releases, and they'll probably find a way to really make them useful on the battlefield. The Behemoth, I mean, what can I say? It's essentially this game's version of the AC-130. It can be pretty devastating, but even the mechanics for the Behemoth are a little bit weird. You no longer capture a flag and have access to that piece of equipment. It's actually given to the losing team after a certain point. If a team is just getting raffle stomped, the Behemoth is deployed to help kind of level the playing field. It's very similar to, you'll see some settings in some servers now, like the quote-unquote nuke, where they'll kill a handful of people on the winning team to kind of level the playing field so that the losing team can get out of an all cap or a base rape or something like that. So we'll see how that works. But overall, it was a lot of fun. It looked beautiful. I mean, it looked beautiful for an alpha. It's polished. Performance-wise, I had no problems. Performance-wise, it ran completely smooth. All the servers were 60 hertz. There was none of this 40 hertz server, 30 hertz server, whatever they got now. Everything was 60 hertz. I didn't have any trouble with getting shot behind walls or trade killing. None of that stuff actually happened to me. It was it was a fun experience. But the more that I got into it, and the more that I was like, the more kind of the shiny fell off of it, where I was like, "Ooh, I'm so excited to be playing the alpha." The more I realized, man, this RNG for the deviation is really gonna change the skill gap. It's gonna make it to where it is just a random crapshoot. Like, yeah, I got the drop on that guy, but he beat me in the dice roll, which is unfortunate because in 8 months after release, 6 months after release, I mean, they might bring a lot of new players in and say, hey, look how easy it is to play. You too can play really well. There's no recoil patterns to memorize. Woohoo! In 6 or 8 months, all those, and I hate to use this term, but for lack of a better word, all those casuals that are brought in will move on to something else. And the only people that will be left will be the die-hard Battlefield players who put hundreds, if not thousands of hours. I mean, in my case, I have almost 1,600 hours into Battlefield 4. And I have thousands of hours into other Battlefield games, BC2, 2142, Battlefield 2. So those of us who really enjoy these games and really enjoy getting better at a weapon, picking up a weapon, going, all right, I have no idea what I'm doing, and then after 100 kills, you're like, okay, I kind of got this. After 200 kills, you're like, all right, I'm pretty good at this. By the time you've quote-unquote mastered it, at 500 kills, you know what you're doing, and you've either found a weapon that you really like, or a weapon that you're like, maybe I'll switch over and I'll try something else. So those are my thoughts, the good, bad, and the ugly. There's a lot of good here, but the one ugly is really, really ugly. So hope you guys enjoy this. Give me a thumbs up. Think about subscribing, share it with your friends, share it with whoever you like. My name's Dead Winter Dead. Thanks for watching.